Hello from Hemmingford, Quebec, everybody. I'm David Smith, or Data Smith on Lichess, and welcome to this round report for the Hemmingford Chess Club's November Quads tournament. I believe we're at round 5 or 6, depending which section you're in. So far, so good. We've mixed up the groups a bit, and so this is meant for new opponents for a lot of us, as well as for the odd upset, which has been sort of fun, particularly for those who are upsetting. Two performances to mention. In section B, Flaming Orange, Peter has turned in so far after 4 games a performance rating of 1681, which is well over 300 points above his initial rating in the tournament. So that's a pretty impressive performance so far. We'll see if you can keep it up, Peter. In section A, even more impressive is the play of Lucas Wasserman, who is playing at a level of 2251, according to the little calculator I found online. 2251 represents 426 points above Lucas's original rating in the section. So quite impressive, and I hope you can keep that up. Though you should have lost your game against me, Lucas, really. Anyway, in other chess, of course, there's the World Chess Championship going on in Singapore. Today is the rest day before the last 2 games played at classical time controls. The match is all tied at 6 points apiece, and it's turning out to be a much more interesting match and much more competitive than anybody really expected. Though, given Ding Liren's history of coming back, maybe it's not so much of a shock that he won yesterday's game in fine style and tied the match up again. For those of you who are not really following or who don't know who I'm talking about, do a bit of reading online. It's definitely worth it. The challenger at 18 years old is the youngest ever. That's Gukesh, an amazing player and somebody who will probably become a fixture in the top 5 over the next decade or 2. So definitely worth following. And of course, the defending champion, Ding Liren, who has had some mental health issues that he's been dealing with over the last couple of years. But really, in many ways, you wouldn't know it. He's been super open about those challenges. But despite them, he seems to be able to come back after incredible setbacks. So yesterday's game being a perfect example. It followed the day. It was the day after a previous loss. So anyway, some good chess in view there. Take a look at it. There's lots of coverage online on Lichess, on chess.com, and elsewhere. All right, so quick bit of chess content for us. This, my apologies to the stronger players. We're going to look at a very simple concept called Zwischenzug, or intermezzo, which essentially means the same thing in German and Italian, respectively, of an intermediate move. Let me just get the board up here so that we can take a look together. There we go. Okay, so Zwischenzug, intermediate moves. Oh, I've got the wrong opening position. Here we go. This is the one. This is from a game in section B between G. Petrus and Denis Bouchard. And this is a pretty good illustration of how this works. The white player decides that they want to get rid of the bishop on d6, so they capture it with the knight. And in the normal course of events, black would simply take back either with the queen or with the pawn on c7. Straight exchange of minor pieces. But black has another option, and that's to play a move in between the initial capture and the recapture. In this case, black can play rook takes e1, which in fact they do. It comes with check. A check must be responded to, and so therefore white recaptures with the knight, and then that gives black the opportunity to finish the exchange on d6. So black has acceded to the exchange on d6, but with fitting a move in between, or a Zwischenzug. Zwischenzug? My German leaves something to be desired. In this case, it's a move that presumably black wanted to play. It gets the pesky white rook off of e1. So this can sometimes be useful. So that's the basic idea. You play a move in between, usually by creating a threat that is so large that the opponent has no choice but to respond. Here's a second example. Not quite as well executed, though. So black, this is a game from R-Sava as white versus Senf black. It's black's move, and black decides to chase the bishop g5 away. And white says, well, that's all well and good. I'll have to withdraw the bishop. But before I do that, let's fit a move in between. And so the correct way to do this, of course, is the same way we saw in the previous example. White can capture on c6 here with check, which requires that black respond somehow, presumably recapture this way. And now white has the opportunity to withdraw the bishop and incidentally reinforce the protection of the knight at d4. In the game, unfortunately, white had the right basic idea, but the execution was a bit weak. White decided to capture on c6 with a knight. Now this doesn't create a check, but it does create a major threat against the black queen, and black is obliged to respond in some way. If black had played the same way as we saw in the previous example, where he would block the check by recapturing with the knight, well, then again, white would be able to withdraw the bishop. Unfortunately for white, though, black has another option, and that's to recapture with the pawn. And in recapturing with the pawn, now black has threats on two pieces at the same time. And so that means that white has to choose which bishop they want to lose. A bit unfortunate. Last example, which comes from H. Wellman as with the white pieces versus R. Sava with the black. And Richard decides that they're going to play b5, threatening the obvious threat on the bishop at a4. Hendrik decides that instead of responding to the threat, or instead of withdrawing as a result of the threat, they'll make a threat of their own by playing h3. So, and this is often a very good way of approaching something. Hendrik is assuming that after the capture on a4, there'll be a capture on g4, and they will have exchanged bishops on opposite sides of the board. Nice idea, except that black has an intermediate move, or an intermezzo, or I'll try my German again, a Zwischenzug, in playing a capture on e2. Black captures on e2 with a bishop. Oh, sorry. I'm missing a move here. All right. Black captures on e2 with the bishop, creating a threat, obviously, against the queen. White has to respond, recaptures on e2, and now that gives black the extra time to capture on a4, and black is now 3 minor pieces to 2 minor pieces. So, Zwischenzug, in between moves, sometimes hard to spot, but worth taking a minute when you're making what appears to be a routine exchange of pieces or pawns. Worth taking a minute just to check if there's not some move that either you or your opponent can play in between that might benefit you. And that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.